The alarm sounds. You silence it. Shower, dress, commute, work, eat, sleep, repeat. You're living your life on autopilot, executing a program you didn't consciously design. Like millions of men trapped in the habit matrix, you believe you're making choices, exercising free will, improving yourself, but what if that's the greatest illusion of all? Welcome to the uncomfortable truth about self-improvement. While you've been consuming video after video about discipline and motivation, you've missed the fundamental reality. Most of what you do isn't chosen, it's programmed. The habits controlling your life aren't random. They're an intricate web of neural pathways, social conditioning, and psychological patterns forming an invisible prison cell that feels deceptively like freedom. This isn't another generic, wake up at 5 a.m. lecture. Today, I'm sharing a framework that elite performers use to escape the matrix of autopilot living, one that doesn't just add more habits to your life, but fundamentally rewires how you experience reality. What follows isn't comfortable, but it will be the most honest conversation about self-improvement you've ever had. Let's confront the uncomfortable reality that few men are willing to acknowledge. Every habit you maintain, every routine you follow, every self-improvement tactic you employ, they all operate within a matrix of social conditioning that was designed long before you became conscious of it. Your family, culture, peer groups, and the content you consume have quietly installed operating systems in your mind that run automatically, creating the illusion that you're in control while you remain imprisoned by invisible forces. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's neurobiology. Your brain creates neural superhighways to automate behaviors, prioritizing efficiency over growth. The more you repeat a pattern, the more your brain commits resources to making that pattern automatic, unconscious, and resistant to change. This biological efficiency served our ancestors well for survival, but in today's world, it creates men who are exceptionally efficient at being mediocre, at scrolling mindlessly, at avoiding discomfort, at maintaining the status quo. The very mechanism that should make self-improvement easier is actively working against your evolution. The true problem isn't lack of discipline or motivation, it's that you're trying to override programming you can't even see. You're attempting to improve yourself using the same thinking patterns that created your current limitations. And each time you fail, each time you fall back into old habits, the matrix strengthens its hold, confirming what it has been telling you all along, that real transformation is for other men, but not for you. Developing radical self-awareness is your first weapon against the habit matrix. Conduct a 3-day habit inventory, tracking not just behaviors, but their triggers and rewards. You'll discover the disturbing truth. Approximately 80% of your actions run on autopilot, from your morning routine to your stress responses. These aren't random. They're sophisticated algorithms operating below consciousness. The matrix's power lies in emotional response patterns. When feeling inadequate, you reach for your phone. Facing uncertainty, you seek distraction. These aren't simple bad habits, but complex programming installed by technology companies, reinforced through dopamine pathways, and maintained by a distraction-profiting society. The invisible scripts telling you you're not enough or change can wait form the matrix's foundation. Implement the pattern interruption protocol immediately. When catching an automatic behavior, force a 30-second pause to ask, who programmed this response? What am I avoiding? And what would my ideal self do instead? This creates the critical gap between stimulus and response where authentic choice emerges. Breaking the illusion paradoxically grants true control. The matrix cannot maintain its hold once you've recognized its existence. This awareness becomes the cornerstone upon which meaningful transformation is built. Once you've identified the matrix controlling your behaviors, you must develop the neurological infrastructure to override it. Self-discipline isn't some mystical force of willpower. It's a biological reality grounded in neuroplasticity. Your current neural pathways were forged through repetition, and they can only be rewired through the same process. The discomfort you feel when changing habits isn't weakness, it's your brain's resistance to metabolic inefficiency. Understanding this transforms how you approach change. The conventional approach to habit change fails because it attempts to remove behaviors without understanding their function. Every habit, even destructive ones, serves a purpose in your neurological ecosystem. The key insight most men miss is that habits cannot be eliminated. They can only be replaced. This replacement must honor the underlying need while changing the expression. Your evening alcohol consumption might serve to reduce social anxiety. The solution isn't willpower, but finding an alternative that addresses the same need without the negative consequences. Implement the response pattern interruption method daily. First, identify the trigger behavior reward loop of a specific habit. Then, maintain the same trigger and reward while substituting a growth-oriented behavior. If stress triggers compulsive social media use which rewards you with dopamine, maintain the trigger, stress, and reward dopamine, but replace scrolling with a 5-minute high-intensity workout. Your brain receives the same chemical reward through a behavior that builds rather than diminishes you. The neurobiological reality few discuss is that discipline becomes easier as neural pathways strengthen. The first 21 days require conscious effort, but with consistent application, your brain physically restructures. New dendrites form, myelin sheaths develop, and what initially demanded willpower becomes your default operating system. This explains why disciplined men don't experience the internal resistance that overwhelms beginners. They're not fighting their programming. They've rewritten it. Create strategic discomfort zones daily to accelerate this rewiring process. Cold showers, fasting periods, difficult conversations, and intentional boredom all serve to strengthen your prefrontal cortex's ability to override limbic impulses. These practices aren't about suffering. They're targeted neurological exercises that build the specific brain regions responsible for executive function. Just as weightlifting creates micro-ears that heal stronger, these discomforts create neural adaptations that make self-discipline increasingly effortless over time. Embracing the joy of change represents the ultimate matrix escape. Elite performers don't merely tolerate growth, they've neurochemically rewired themselves to derive dopamine from the transformation process itself. This is an abstract theory, but practical neuropsychology. By systematically exposing yourself to value-aligned challenges of increasing difficulty, you reprogram your reward pathways to crave evolution rather than comfort. The Values Action Alignment Protocol accelerates this transformation. Identify your 3 foundational values, then engineer your environment to make actions supporting these values require minimal resistance. This environmental optimization bypasses willpower entirely. Growth becomes your default state rather than an uphill battle. Simultaneously, challenge the matrix's installed limiting beliefs through systematic evidence gathering. Document every instance of discipline, creating cognitive dissonance that forces belief reconstruction. True freedom emerges when you design reality rather than accepting programming. This requires ruthless input curation. Eliminate media reinforcing limitations. Cultivate relationships with men who normalize excellence, and develop personalized metrics measuring authentic progress. When external conditions align with internal values, discipline transforms from struggle to natural expression. You're no longer fighting against your programming. You've become the programmer, designing systems that automatically generate the man you're becoming. Escaping the habit matrix manifests first as internal alignment, a silent confidence radiating from congruence between your conscious choices and actual behaviors. This eliminates the exhausting cognitive dissonance plaguing ambitious men caught between their projected and authentic selves. The transformation crystallizes in your decision-making apparatus. Where endless deliberation once created paralysis, you now execute with clarity and conviction across all domains. This decisiveness compounds exponentially, accelerating your professional trajectory as colleagues recognize your reliability and superiors identify your leadership capacity. Opportunities previously reserved for naturally disciplined men materialize because you've discovered their secret. They simply escaped the matrix earlier. Most profoundly, you experience the biochemical reality of fulfillment. Authentic satisfaction derives from movement along purpose-driven paths rather than reaching arbitrary destinations. This neurological revelation transforms your relationship with discipline itself. What once felt like sacrifice now registers as self-respect. Motivation that required external stimulation now generates internally through aligned action. You've transcended improvement and achieved genuine transformation. Accept the 10-day Matrix Escape Challenge now, not tomorrow, not when ready. Your conditioning craves delay. Reject it immediately. Commit to 3 specific actions. Conduct your comprehensive 72-hour habit inventory documenting every automated behavior with its triggers and rewards. Implement the pattern interruption protocol when catching autopilot behaviors. forcing the critical 30-second consciousness reclamation pause, and create one strategic discomfort zone daily to strengthen executive function neural pathways. Subscribe and publicly declare your specific commitment below, not for validation but for intention solidification. The Matrix maintains power only through your perceived powerlessness. The moment you recognize your capacity to reprogram your mind, discipline transforms from struggle to liberation. Your authentic self awaits this decision.